But let's go ahead and get going here. So I'm in the production order system. So, and we can tell because on the main menu I got production open, and then you can see with the blue chevron that production orders is highlighted. If I was in the traffic system, that would be highlighted. Now, two different things. Production orders are single ads. Traffic orders can have multiple ads on one traffic order. You give it the traffic instructions, or really the rotation instructions on how you want those ads to run. But let's go ahead and get going here. First thing I want to show you, I'm going to click this blue button here. When you first log in and you're new to the system, it's going to have this status selector right here. So this is what status your production orders can be in. If you're on active production orders, that includes everything in these statuses. So they're technically active in the creative process. So that includes copy points, goes to the copywriter, approval, production, assigned to talent, and then completed. Now, depending on your station's operations, you may not have all of these options on here. For instance, you may not have copy points if your company doesn't use copywriters. There's no point in having copy points on there. So do know this system is very configurable, and we can set it up just about to any workflow at any radio station. So if you don't see some of these things, don't worry about it. That just means either one, it hasn't been set up for you and it needs to be, or your manager decided that you guys don't need that step. But is what I want to show you here. Instead of putting these in a drop down, I like a different view better. Instead of having the status selector in a drop down like this, I like putting it in tabs so I can see where all my production orders are at once. So if I click on this blue button, it's going to get rid of this drop down menu, and now it's going to put it into tabs here so I can see how many production orders are in each status. I got 16 inactive, so that means I've got 16 in total all the way to completed. So if we add these all up, 1 in copy points, 1 in copywriter, 1 in approval, 1 in production, 1 that's been assigned, and 11 that have been completed, that will equal 16. Now, one thing I want you guys to take notice of, if you don't have this drop-down menu up top here, the main drop-down next to the logo, that means you're probably not a producer or talent or someone on an admin level. You're probably just a salesperson. So you won't have this drop-down menu. So you'll just have yourself, and you're not going to see the drop-down for everybody else. Now, if you are a production director or a traffic director and you don't see this drop-down to be on all employees, you need to let us know and contact us through our chat system down here where it says Get Help. And our phone number's right there, and you can chat with us. We take a lot of pride in this. We answer this from 5 a.m. to 6 p.m. every day, or really Monday through Friday. But on the weekends, you can call us too, and we'll get back to you real quick. So again, if you don't have this, get a hold of us if you need it, if you need to see all employees. The reason we have this, if you're a production director, you want to see all the production orders coming through. So you want to be on all employees most of the time. But if you're just a regular sales rep, you're not going to see that, but you're going to be able to use something that the production directors can't. Now, I take that back. Production directors can use this, but you have to have a rep selected, and I'm going to show you this here. So once you select a rep, you then can use the customer drop down here. The reason it doesn't work on all employees is because it would take forever for this list to load. It would load thousands and thousands of contacts, and it just would never load. So this is actually disabled when you have all employees selected. So for now, I'm going to act as Alan here. So I'm going to pretend I'm a sales rep. And as how our production order system works is that it walks down a logical timeline. It starts off in copy points. You put in the copy points if you have copywriters. If you don't have copywriters, you won't have this option here. But if you have copywriters, you're going to put in copy points. It then moves over to the copywriter. Copywriter then moves it back to the sales rep for their approval. The sales rep then moves it to production. Production then assigns it to talent. Talent completes the ad and then moves it to completed. And then everybody gets an email when these things move to different statuses. And when they're completed, the sales rep will get the script and the audio included in that email. So you don't have to come back to the office to pick up that audio file. The production director doesn't have to email you the file. You as a sales rep don't have to go ask the the production director for that audio. It comes right to your phone, whatever you have email you have set up on your phone, and then you can take that right over to your client, show it to them, or you can forward the email over to them. It's your choice. Okay. Now, but once they're completed, and you're happy with them, you then can traffic them, and they go through the traffic process, traffic, in dubbing, and then on air. And we have some other tabs down here for stored production orders, because once you start doing a bunch of production orders for a customer, the list might get daunting and you want to send those to storage. So you send them to storage to get them out of your main work area. And then you have all. If you click on all, it'll show you all of your production orders. So most of the time you're going to be in probably active and then these first few steps here if you're a sales rep, all the way up to completed. And you can see we don't have any in here now. So we're going to actually do a production order today. We'll do a few of them and just walk down the logical time frame. And I'm going to show you guys every little step. Even if you don't necessarily have anything to do with that step, I want everybody to understand how this all works. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do a new production order. We're going to click on new here, and as we can see, we can do a new customer here, new contract, and new PO. We are going to do a new PO. It asks me which customer I want to select. We'll say American Carp Society. And then we have two options, a standard PO and a pre-produced PO. Standard POs are when you actually need to get an ad made. The pre-produced are for ads that are already done. A lot of times you get those from your agency. There's nothing you really need to do to them. You just need to get them in the system so you can traffic them. So let's do that. Let's pretend that we got an ad from the agency and we need to get it in the system so we can give it traffic order instructions. Click on pre-produced. Put in the title. I'm just going to call this test omit 1. And then what's the length? We can just highlight in here and change it to anything we want. So if I want to change it to 60, I just simply type that in. But we'll leave it as a 30 for now. And then you can say whether it's a co-op or not. And then optionally, you can put in the script. So if your traffic department requires that you put in the script, make sure you put that in there. And then we upload the file. We click here to upload the file. And let's see here. I download an audio file here. If I can find it, give me a second. There it is. I'm going to upload that. And there's a little player there. Now do know on these production orders, not just on pre-produced, but any production order, you can upload multiple files. This is nice, so maybe you want to upload the audio, but maybe you also want to upload the PDF file that's instructions from the agency. You can always attach it to this production order, and then you can always find it later because it's always attached to that. And you can upload as many files as you want, any kind of file you want. So you production directors out there can actually upload the session files. So if you made a really complex ad that's like a monster truck rally ad, you can upload all those files, and when you need to mix that ad the next year, you only have to change a few things. You don't have to redo that entire ad because you attached all the session files, all the audio files to that one production order. So it's really easy for you to mix it that next year. Plus, having everything in the system, if you have a production director out sick or a sales rep out sick, everything can be found in the system. It's not on any one person's computer. It's all in one central place in the cloud. Now, the last option here is to put in some additional instructions. You may want to put something in there, but it's up to you. Now, we can hit apply, and this would then pull up the traffic order screen. But before I do that, I'm going to add another commercial to this rotation. So instead of hitting apply, I'm going to click save and add another. So this is going to save this production order, test omit 1, and it's going to allow me to add another. So I can have more than one ad when I fill out the traffic order. So I'm going to hit save and add another. I'm going to choose pre-produced again. I'm going to call this test omit 2. Again, I'm going to upload my audio. And I would keep doing that until I get down to my last ad. But I'm only going to do 2 for now. So when I hit apply, there's going to be 2 ads on the traffic order. So here comes the traffic order. So this will allow me to tell the traffic director the instructions. So we got test omit 1 and 2. There's the audio. We're going to go ahead and open up test 1. We're going to put in the start dates. We're going to put on the end dates. Choose the stations. I can choose as many as I want or as little as I want. I can put in the ISKI codes here. Now that's optional. You don't. All this stuff down below here is optional. You can put in the ISKI codes if you like, the day parts, and then maybe it doesn't run on Saturday and Sunday. And then I would do the same thing for test omit 2. Put in the start dates, put in the end dates, what stations does it run on, ISKI codes if I wanted to, day parts, and again this one doesn't run on Saturday and Sunday. Now, one thing I want you to take notice of is the percentage. It has it at 50-50. So this one's at 50% of the time. This one's at 50% of the time. So we're telling the traffic director, I want these ads to run evenly. But maybe I want this one to run 25% of the time, and this one to run 75% of the time. Okay, so I can adjust those to where they're not a perfect 50-50 run. Now, on the instruction box over here, this is just extra instruction that you want to give the traffic director. So let's just say ads end at 9 a.m. on the 23rd. For example, you can put anything you want in there, but that just gives you an opportunity to put extra instructions. Now we have 1 and 2 ads. Now let's pretend that the agency said, hey, I want these 2 ads to run that I just sent you, but also I want you to run that ad from last summer. Okay, so as long as it's in the system, we can select it from here. See, it says select a PO ad to add. So this is going to go in your history of production orders that you've done for this client. So as long as it's in the Influence FM system, you can go in the past and go, okay, I want to use this one. You select it. It's going to show you the script if there was a script, so that helps you verify that that's the ad you want to use. So I'm adding a 3rd ad to the rotation, and this ad is from the past that I've used in the past. So I'm going to click Add to Rotation, and it's called the same thing, Test Omit 2, because I only did 2 for this. I didn't have 1 from the past that I did. It just pulled up the ads that I just did, 1 and 2. But let's pretend this said Test Omit 3, and it was from the past. It's going to copy verbatim what I put in the last rotation item. It does change the percentage though to 33%. So it's going to run these each a third. But again, maybe I want this to run 25% of the time, and I want this one to run 50% of the time, and then I want this last one to run 25% of the time. Okay, so let's go back up to our 3rd ad that we added, and one thing we can change here is obviously the percentage that we just went over, but you can also change the dates if you want to. So you don't have to, it copies verbatim what you put in the last rotation item, but you can change it if you need to. Maybe you add a station here. You don't have to keep it exactly the same. So once we get our rotation instructions in there, we then hit Send to Traffic. Now, we're not going to send this to traffic. I'm going to do this again when we do a standard production order. So I'm going to close out of this. Before we do our standard production order, I want you to take notice to something. Here is our American Carp Society ads, and you can see they're marked as completed because all we did was upload them and they were done. So as soon as you do that traffic order, they're completed. So this shows you down here on the status timeline what status your production order is in. Okay, so let's go ahead and do a new production order, and this time we're going to choose a standard production order. We choose our client, standard production order. Now, this is where we put in our title. I'm going to call this Test Omit 3. Now, I encourage you to name these things something pretty specific to what the ad is, because you may get a client that says, hey, run that ad from last summer. You know, and if you don't name them something specific, it's going to be hard for you to find that again in the system if you want to reuse it. You put in the length, the cell style, is it hard, medium, or soft? A hard ad for those of you that don't know, this is kind of the inflection and the energy in the ad. A hard ad would be like a Monster Truck Rally ad. A soft sell would be like a Mother's Day ad. We'll put it on medium for now. How many voices are you going to need? So if you have a male voice and a female voice, you're going to need 2. If you have a male voice, a female voice, and a kid's voice, you're going to need 3 people on this. Okay? And then now the write by date. Some of you guys may not have this write by date. If you don't use copywriters at your radio station, then you're not going to have this field here. But this, for those of you that do have the write by date, this is when the copywriter needs to get the ad written for your approval. And then this is when you need it produced by. Everybody will have the produced by date. And then you say whether it's a co-op or not. That's optional. Same with the cart number. This is optional. I know some stations put the cart number in when they begin the production order, but this is optional all the way till the end. So this could be filled out at any point. So maybe it doesn't happen until it gets to traffic. So leave it blank until it gets to traffic, and traffic can put in the cart number. Now, this is a recommendation to the production team. talent. Ultimately, the production director decides who cuts the ad, but this is a recommendation from you as the sales rep. Say, hey, I want Misty to do this ad. Then does it need a jingle, tag, music bed, or other? I'll say it needs a music bed. Then in the instructions in here, I can say rock, music. And then I could add any other instructions I want in there as well. Pronunciations. So real handy, especially if you're sending your copy out to your production order out to someone that's not familiar with the part of the country that you're in. This helps them with pronunciations. For instance, our software company's in Lake Havasu City. Havasu always gets slaughtered, so we spell that out phonetically here. Now, for those of you that do have a copywriter, here's our copy points box. Obviously, you put your copy points in there. And then you can put as much as you want. And these little boxes here, they expand. Whenever you see these little lines on the corner of a box, it means you can expand them. Okay, so you can write all your copy points there. And then you select the copywriter, whoever you want to write the ad for you. Okay, we'll just say Alan for now. Now, before we get to that, we have the ability to write copy. For those of you that don't have a copy points box, you can just go ahead and write copy. And what's cool about this is that it starts to count for us in the top right hand corner. And as I write more copy, it counts higher and higher. Okay? So that should help you write in the right length ads. Now something to take note of is F2 to insert a comment. So let's pretend it's Christmas time, and right here at this point in the ad, I need some jingle bells and Santa Claus laughing. All I got to do is hit F2 on my computer, and then anything I put between brackets isn't going to count against my time. Okay? And we can do that as many times as we want. And then optionally, you can put in the schedule if you want. If you don't see the schedule down here, that means that your radio station doesn't have that feature turned on. But this is always optional, even if you have this feature turned on. But you go ahead and give the start dates and end dates if you know what they are, and this is going to carry over to the traffic order. What stations does it run on? You can upload files at this point. You probably wouldn't at this point, but you could. Again, maybe you want to upload the instructions from the agency, you can do that. And then down at the bottom, there's some room for last minute instructions there. Now, if you have the rights, you can actually skip steps. By default, the system's saying, okay, you probably want to send this to the copywriter. Choose your copywriter you want to send this to, and then hit apply, and then it's going to go to the copywriter. But maybe you are the copywriter and you want to skip steps. You can actually do that. So if you have the rights to do so, you can actually skip steps. If you're not able to use this drop down, that means you don't have the rights to do so. If you need the rights to do this, talk to your manager and have them contact us, and we can adjust your rights to where you can actually skip steps. Okay? But for now, I'm going to send it to the copywriter. I'm going to hit apply. Now there we can see here, it's in the copywriter status. The copywriter just got an email saying, hey, you need to write an ad. Okay? You'll notice here, copywriter. I've got 1 in copywriter. Don't forget about these statuses up here. I got 3 in active because I got 1 at the copywriter and 2 in completed. Okay? So in total, there's active. So I'm going to see all these statuses at once, all the way to completed if I'm on active. But if I just go to copywriter, it's just going to show me that one. So when you're looking for a production order, make sure you're checking all the different statuses that it can be in. Again, if you're a sales rep, you can use this customer dropdown. When I'm looking for a production order, a lot of times is what I'll do, I'll sort by the customer. So I'm only seeing that customer's production orders. And then I'll usually sort by last updated as well. So you can sort by due date, last updated, and the talent. Usually I'll put it on last updated, and it'll show me the last ad I updated for that particular customer. And it makes it a little bit easier when I'm flipping between these statuses here. Okay? So now the copywriter is going to come in and say, okay, I need to write some copy for this ad. We're going to click on approval, or we're going to move it down a production line. Start off at copy points, move to copywriter. So in order for the copywriter to get it to the next status, they're going to click on approval. They're going to go ahead and write the ad. If you recall, we went ahead and wrote some stuff in there because we were were pretending that our radio station didn't have copywriters, okay? But let's say I do have a copywriter. So the copywriter is going to read your copy points up above, and then of course they're going to write the ad according to your copy points. If you don't have a copywriter at your company, you're not even going to worry about this step. And now at the bottom here we see that it automatically went to get customer / rep approval. So that's exactly what this is going to do. This is going to send this to the rep, and the rep is going to decide if they like it or not. So we're going to hit apply. So that's really the only job of the copywriter. Again, if you don't have a copywriter, you guys can ignore those steps. It actually skips these two steps, copywriter and approval, if you don't have a production or if you don't have a copywriter. Okay, so for those of you that don't have a copywriter, it's going to go straight from copy points. So the sales rep is going to write the ad and it goes straight into production. So you as a rep, for those of you that do have a copywriter, are going to come in here and see it in approval. You're also going to get an email after that copywriter writes the ad, and it's going to have the script in there. If you like it, you're going to move it down to production. So you're going to click on the next logical step, production, and then you're going to hit apply. That's all you got to do. Okay? Now, if you don't like the ad, and this could be done at any status, so this could have been done at the copywriter status as well. This action button over here, this is where we can report a problem. So know that you can't edit ads. And the reason we don't let you edit ads is so you go through the proper channels. When you click on report a problem, it's going to make sure it emails all the right people, because you don't want to change the copy while it's at the copywriter, or even when it's in production. You don't want to change it while someone's cutting the ad, writing the ad, or whatever they're doing with it. You want to make sure they get an email notifying them of the changes and have it move backwards in the production order process. So if we ever have a problem, no matter what status it's in, don't edit the ad. In fact, you can't edit the ad. You want to click on the action button and report a problem. And then you just select what the problem is. And there will be more options in here the further it moves down the status timeline. But right now, since we're only at the approval status, the only option is script needs to be changed. Put in the description of what needs to be changed, and then you email whoever needs to be notified. And you can email as many people as you want. And then you hit save, and then it moves backwards in the production order process. Okay? But now that it's in approval, let's say I do like it, I'm the sales rep, and I want to move it down to production. I come in here, I've read the script, it looks good. I'm going to move it to production. It automatically puts it send to be produced. We hit apply. Now the producer gets an email, and it's sitting here in production. Let's go back to active so you guys can see it there. So there it is sitting in production. Now the production director is going to assign it to talent. Click assign. Select the talent. Hit apply. Now talent's going to get an email saying that it's all done. So there it is sitting in assigned. If we just want to see it in assigned, that's it. That's the only production orders we want to see, the ones that have been assigned. We can do that, and here we are. But I'd say most of the time it's probably safest for you reps to keep it on active. But do know you can bounce around to the different statuses. So now that it's been assigned to talent, talent then is going to complete it. They're going to click on complete here. They're going to cut the ad. They're going to click on upload file. And now once it's uploaded, we then mark the spot as complete. Now it's completed. Sales reps are going to get an email with the audio attached, everything they need to decide whether they like the ad or not. They can forward that email over to their client. Now, if you don't like it, what do? Or the client doesn't like it, we click on action and report a problem. And you'll see now there's more options in the problem drop down. Now we have script needs to change, get approval, spot needs to be recut. So there's more options there. But now that it's completed, we can traffic the ad. Do know, though, I want to be real clear on this, guys. You can actually give the production order traffic instructions before it's ever finished. So if it's sitting in production or it's in approval, you can give it traffic instructions before it's even done. You can click on traffic. So if it's sitting back here in approval, you can click on traffic and give it traffic instructions before it's done. So do know you can do that. I know some stations like to do that. But now that it's completed, I'm going to go ahead and traffic it. And then here's our traffic order screen again. put in any special instructions out there that we want, start dates, end dates. The percentage is at 100% because we only have one ad. It remembers the radio stations that I put in from the beginning, and it also remembers the start and end dates too, but these can be adjusted. You can optionally put in the ISKI codes if you want, the day part, and then maybe it doesn't run on Saturday and Wednesday. Okay. Now, if we wanted to add another ad to the rotation that we had, we had another production order that we put through, we had a couple ads made, and the ad is done, all we'd have to do is click on here, select a PO to add, find the name of the ad, select it, and hit add to rotation. And now you have two ads in the rotation. It's going to copy verbatim what you put in this first rotation item, but the percentage is going to be split to 50-50. You may want to adjust that, so do take notice of that, and do know that it copies verbatim what you have in the first rotation item. We then click send to traffic. So that's pretty much it for this training. I just want to show you a few more things in the action button here. So on the action button, we can click on view or edit the PO. I know it says edit, but only certain people can edit it at certain statuses, so just don't use that. Use the report problem. And then a lot of you actually won't be able to edit it, so just kind of ignore it says edit. That allows you to view the production order. Same as clicking on the current status it's on, and same as clicking on the name of the customer as well. Okay, so those three do the same thing. You can also send these to storage, so it basically gets these out of your main workflow. Do know that you can use them later, it doesn't delete them, but if you want to get this production order out of your main workflow, you don't think you're ever going to use it again, send it to storage, but you can use it later if you want. You can also duplicate production orders. That's real handy if you're doing one of those ads that says, hey, this Saturday come down and see us. And then you got to do another one that says, hey, tomorrow come down and see us. And then a third ad that says, hey, today come down and see us. That's real handy to use that duplicate feature for. And then also you can print off these production orders. You can also email a production order at any status. And then you can also view the history of a production order. Now this is real nice because nobody can point fingers. You can see exactly who did what when. All the way from uploading the audio file to whatever happened to it. When there's a problem reported, it's all reported in the history. So everybody knows who did what when. And this allows you to view all the files that have been uploaded for that production order. And then there's our report problem. That's it for our production order training. I'm going to do some shorter trainings for this as well, which will be below this video. And don't forget, you can always get help down here. And we take a lot of pride in this. We answer this in under 10 seconds guaranteed.